everyone. What a beautiful, peaceful moment this is for me right now, as I am just letting the tones of this music come through for all of you. I'm going to take a minute or two or three to let everyone just come on and be in the space of gathering here, and to really just set a tone for yourself. If you are here with me right now online, if you see me looking to the side, I just want to make sure I'm receiving your comments as well throughout this entire masterclass. So for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Maria De Luna. I'm a spiritual business mentor. I help women really embody the truth of who they are by connecting to their wiseness inside of themselves, activating all the wisdom, activating everything that they truly are, by really coming into their true fullness of their light, their love, their compassion, and anything else that can help them to achieve the wealth, the love, the connections, and the truth of themselves. I work with ancestors, I work with the inner child, I work with the light workers, I work with the sorcerers, priestesses, all beings here ready to transform, ready to move, ready to grow into themselves. Hi, beautiful sisters. For you all who are wanting to come onto the Zoom, you're more than welcome to. The link is inside the comments. And just please know that this masterclass is about really connecting with yourself. So I ask that you take your time before you get started with me to truly just be in the space. Take away the pens and the paper and just be in the space here and now. Okay? So today I'm going to start with a meditation first, because I think just getting us grounded, getting into the movements of ourselves, our divine embodiment of the sacred woman, is really all we could ask for. And so I'm putting on this beautiful tone. I absolutely love it. It really helps to ground the energies. We're going to start breathing by putting our hands on top of our crown chakra right here. And we're just going to breathe in and holding that divine space and releasing any clutters that are stuck inside of our head. We're just going to tap it. And tap it off. Doop, doop, doop. Get it out of there. Just breathe into the beautiful space and allow yourself to just feel into this energy. Next, we're going to go into our third eye. We're going to do the same thing and just tap it away. Breathing in and just a light tap, and breathing out. With your throat chakra, I want you to use both hands. Breathing in. This is where all your voice comes from, and breathing out. That easy, right? Now for your heart. You guys know where your heart is, right? Tapping into your heart chakra, awakening that movement right there. Do you guys hear that? All right. Yes, they are. Ancestors are working through me. Welcome. Okay. I'm actually going to put this right in front of me because I don't actually need this thing here. So we're just going to tap to our heart. Breathing in. And as you're breathing in, I want you to breathe in the intentions for yourself, the transformation that you're looking for inside of you, and breathing out. Ooh, now I'm red. That's okay. And then into your solar plexus as well. We're going to tap that baby, awaken her power inside of us. Breathing in. And releasing. There we go. Sacral. Just down your belly button. Just tapping, 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 tapping. Breathing in. You can use both hands and breathing out. And now with your root, I want you to just go onto your sides of your pelvis and tap down there as well. The 2, breathing in and breathing out. Now just feel as if a light coming through from the top of your head where your star chakra resides, all the way down to your root, and aligning all chakras together. Beautiful. Now, I'm going to stop this beautiful music, and before you take away your pens and papers, I want you to acknowledge your takeaways today of who you are, what it is that you're calling in for your transformation for yourself, what you want to receive for you. Everyone's resonance is completely different, so we need to be able to acknowledge that, okay? All right, let's make sure this music stops, and there we go. Okay, so Divine Sisters, Sacred Women. Why did I use the title Her? H.E.R, humbled, empowered, and radiant woman that you are. Those are what they mean to me. They mean a lot of different things for me as well, too. Rebellious, radiant, rambunctious is another word that comes through for me. The woman is the person that stares at us through the mirrors in front of us. The sacredness of that woman is who we are, how we acknowledge her, how we embody her, how we connect with her. And a lot of the times in this sacred space, we're not doing that stuff with her. We're forgetting how truly powerful she really is. And all it takes is true acknowledgement, true connection, true empowerment of oneself. You know, one of the things that I was reading the other day was that fear or being afraid is actually the catalyst to anything that we do. And so today I'm going to share with you one of the biggest things that I don't usually share about, and that has a lot to do with myself. And the only way I can give you guys any experience or any thoughts into this about the embodiment of that sacred woman is by sharing with you why I am where I am and who I am right now, and what fears had come up for me, and what happened during my misunderstandings, and I'm looking at my notes, and being weird and different, and also not seeing myself as beautiful enough to be in the space of receiving and being that sacred woman. I'm going to start at the very beginning, really. And that very beginning was when I was younger. I lost my father at the age of 6. And at that time, people don't know this, but my father came from a very well-off family. And my mother married my father because when I was born into that family, my grandfather didn't like the idea. So I was already not wanted. My grandfather said that I would be a half-child that he didn't want, that he didn't need in the family. He didn't like the whole connection of a multicultural woman who's not fully Spaniard coming into his family. His hate for my mom and hate for me before I was even born had already begun. So I already had fears that were already being placed in me as I was being curated into the womb of my mother. And during my younger years, my grandfather didn't express anything towards me, but he sure as heck expressed it towards my mother, of his hate for us, of his displeasure of not being a full woman in his eyes. He disliked the whole concept of my father even marrying someone who wasn't of culture. It's kind of funny, isn't it, when we think about it, how much our world has truly changed, all because we've been able to open ourselves into who we are. But when my younger years were actually done, I was actually taken into different areas half the time with my family. I was never really allowed to hang out with some of my cousins who were male or female actually as well too. Because at that time, they felt that I wasn't the right person. I spoke to spirit differently than they did. And I still, to this day, get a lot of pullback from them. And that's okay. I've acknowledged that that's the way my family is. A lot of you say, oh, you have a great family. There you get to talk spiritual with them. But there is still ancient traumas that were brought on from my grandfather to my family now, where I am still outcasted in some way, shape, or form, but not fully. And so when I come into this world, my mother lost my dad, and so did I, at the age of 6. She flew us back to Philippines. My grandfather disowned us and took us away. We had no money. We had no space to stay in Spain. We were disowned. We lost all of our belongings, everything I had except for my teddy bear and some clothes and some things. And we were kicked out of the house, a family home that I had known since I was very little. And so at that time, guys, if I tear up, I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. I'm really not sorry. I had known that I was unwanted and not needed anymore. After losing my father, I realized the only real person that truly loved me and cared about me was him and my mom. And oh my goodness. Anyways, so my mom decided to call her family. Now her family had already been angry with her. They didn't want her to move to Spain to work and do things. They wanted her to find a nice Filipino man and get married and stay in the country and not do anything. So her dad was also upset with her. You see all these patterns here? Lots of people are angry at us. I didn't even know who they were half the time. And at this very moment, I felt at a young age responsible to take care of my mom. She was my pinnacle point because everything was taken under us with a rip of a rug so quickly. The moment my father died. So to this day, of course, that still hurts me. I still get teary about it because it was part of the moments that I felt I was unwanted. My grandfather used to call me the ugliest little girl he'd ever seen. My uncles would choose their sons and their daughters at all times to go and play together before they would let me play with them. I was told I was weird when I was really young from my grandfather on my mom's side because I could hear spirit better than they can. I was told to enclose my abilities when I came to Canada. So after my mom brought us to the Philippines, it didn't work out. They said, come back, come somewhere else. Thank goodness she had a brother here that helped us to get to this location. And so I came to Canada hoping and praying that I would have a beautiful connection with people here. But again, I was told no. I was given this fear that I was different, that I wasn't normal. How can you do such things at school? How can you hear things? You're weird, you're strange. Kids used to tell me this. I had parents telling my mother while I was in school not to let their kids play with me. And so I felt abandoned, alone, disconnected. Even though I could hear my ancestors saying, I'm not alone, it still takes that trigger inside of you as a child. And so I knew I was never going to be part of the crowd. I didn't know how to embody the woman inside of me because I had no friends. I had no one to tell me or show me what it meant to be a real woman. My mom had the hardest time teaching me because she knew I could hear spirit. She knew I could see them. She knew I could feel and smell them. And it was hard for her. It was hard for her because she also was feeling the abandonment and the heartache and not feeling wanted. And this had a lot to do with the way the trickles of humanity gives us this label of we cannot do something, we cannot be something. We are prosecuted even before we even start in this world. Does that feel like you sometimes? Are you sensing that inside of you as you are hearing this story? So I grew up and I said, I'm giving up on spirit. I don't care. It's not really doing a thing for me. I'm hearing shit anyways. I could still hear them, but I stopped sort of seeing them a little bit. They became really blurry for a while. And so with that wound of abandonment, of loneliness, of not being wanted, carried on to my relationship. It carried on to my relationship because I completely disregarded her, the girl, the woman, the little one, the one that was wanting to be heard, seen, or felt. In that fear, during those times and those wounds, I had the fight, the flee, and the freeze moments. I don't know if you guys know those three, but they're actually the three main things that cause people to stay in fear of not showing up as the woman and the sacred woman that they are. The fight, to continuously stay away from listening to my intuition, becoming the woman that I wanted to be because I was afraid no one would be with me. No one would come close to me. I was afraid of being in a situation because I could lose everything, is what I said. And I'm air quoting this because that's exactly what I said. I said, I'm afraid to show up because I can lose everything that I work so fucking hard on. Right? We get so scared. So we go into this fight mode and we're like on defense. And that's what I was doing. I was on defense consistently. I said, no, I don't want to hear anything bad about my partner at that time. He's a good man. You're not here. You're saying shit that doesn't make any sense. I went into freeze mode because I wanted to freeze that moment and say, I don't want to hear any of you because you're trying to hurt me. No. Sorry guys, this is the best that I can do. And I froze my own being of who I was as a woman so I could live in this reality of being myself, of not allowing myself to be with who I am. I sacrificed, and I say this, I voluntarily sacrificed myself because I thought that was the best thing I could do. I thought, hear that? I thought that I could be happy, even though inside my soul was dying, hating itself, consistently angry, causing fights. I was a short-tempered fuse, and you know what my excuse always was? I'm half Spanish, it's okay. No, that was my soul crying out. So I flee. After a loss of my son, I had a tragic mishap. I found my ex with our secretary from our business. I went down the stairs. I came home early that day. And I said, oh my gosh, I want to surprise him. I bought him this beautiful Rolex. Bought him a beautiful Rolex with our names engraved on it. I was pleasing him so that he could love me. And I bought him this Rolex. I was coming home early. It was a day early. I came from Seattle, I remember. I was driving because I can't fly at the very last time, so I was driving. It wasn't that far. We lived in White Rock, so it wasn't too bad. We had this beautiful home, 20,000 square feet home, built. We had cars, we had people that worked for us. We had over 30 people in our business together. We built it from the ground up together, or so I thought. And in that time, he had been cheating on me throughout our entire relationship. He even had sex with my neighbor. With my neighbor, who every single day would say hello to me. And I thought, oh my gosh, I have the best life ever. Yay! I got pregnant with him. I was expecting my beautiful baby boy. 8 months later, I find my partner in bed with our secretary, like I said. And all of a sudden, my heart drops. Or so I think my heart drops. Really, it was my soul going, I fucking told you so. Sorry about the swears, guys. I'm trying not to, but it just doesn't work for me. My soul was like, whatever. I told you this was happening. And so I ended up taking that very moment and turning around. We had these beautiful marble stairs that would like circle it, like they were like a roundabout. I was running away from him. Now here's the fun part. Most of you will probably think, oh, this isn't real, or this isn't true. Whatever you take onto this is up to you. But he actually pushed me down the stairs. I tumbled. I landed my stomach right on the edge of a stair marble. And I don't know if you guys know, but marble really hurts. And I lost my son. At that very moment, when I was laying on the floor at the bottom of the stairway with injuries all over, I had internal bleeding. I had bruises all over me afterwards. I could feel the life force coming out, and I cried, not because of pain, because I could sense my son wasn't going to live. And I remember screaming in agony, hating myself for letting this happen. letting it happen. And so then when he called the ambulance, they took me. They arrested him because I was still conscious. And they asked what happened, and I said he pushed me. That was the first thing I remembered. I said he pushed me. And so they took him in custody. And so then when they took me to the hospital, my son was already dying, already leaving my body. I could see his spirit rising and turning back and looking at me. And I just screamed again and again and again. I said, no, please don't leave. And it was painful. It was so painful. And I think whenever we tell our story, it is always going to be painful because it's a reminder of how much we truly have gone through in our lives. And so I fled into scarcity of everything. I was depressed. I almost committed suicide on a bridge in Vancouver. There's a bridge just off of like this area that is between Tawasin and as well as Richmond. It's kind of a, sorry guys, I can't remember the name, but I remember holding myself onto this bridge and saying, I'm done. I'm so done. I'm tired. Why are you doing this to me? I kept going again and again and again, hating the world, being displeased with the world. And so that was the way I fled. I didn't want to acknowledge anything. I didn't want to acknowledge spirit. I didn't want to acknowledge my mother. I didn't want to acknowledge anyone. I fled into a cave of despair and a void that was so dark, that I once remembered in the middle of the night, I woke up screaming, and I'd locked the upstairs door. I was in my girlfriend's basement. She had taken me in after my ex and I were no longer together, and I locked the door for her to not come. And I remember holding a knife. You may not see it on my arm, but I remember holding a knife and wanting to kill myself. And so at that very pinnacle moment, I tossed it away for some reason. Not for some reason though. I could hear spirit coming back and going, child, hear me. Child, it's me. And it was my father. And I remember seeing him in his spiritual form, and I screamed, why did you leave me? I was upset. I was in despair of hating everything that was brought to me. And so at this very moment, all I wanted to do was take my life away and flee. I remember him coming towards my body as if he was bending down. And he said to me, I've always been here. I may not be in the physical, but I'm here. Believe in yourself. Rise above the pain, the sorrow. So in Spanish, they call me hija, in Spanish, but my parents call me mija. And they go, mija. He said, por favor, means please. Live. And I could remember the connection of the archangels all of a sudden coming in, and I hadn't even tapped into them before. This was the first time I could feel the angelic presence of spirit even more powerful than I ever have in my 20-somewhat years at that time, because I shut it for 10 years. I didn't want to hear, feel, or know of spirit because my partner said I was going nuts. And so I took that moment and I said to myself, why? I asked the one word that we all always ask when it comes to being a woman. Why would you take something that I have wanted for so long away from me? And as I did that, I remember Archangel Michael's sword coming to my shoulder and saying, your child has not abandoned you. No one has abandoned you. These lessons are hard because you chose to be here. And as a woman, as a being of light, it will only get harder. But remember that you are rising. I don't know what it was about those words, but then he said, get up. He said, get up. And so I did. And every single day after that, I rose because all I could hear was the word get up. Get up. For some of you, you might hear rise up or become who you're meant to be. And that pinnacle moment, I worked on many things with the help of a team that I still work with through this day. Many of you know that I'm an ancestral witch. And the reason I call myself this is because we are all witches. We're all connected to our ancestors. As I was getting up every single day after that, I found the courage inside of myself. But you see, courage doesn't apply until we go through something that wants and makes us change. If we're living a very simple life, you don't need courage if you're content with something. It is until a pinnacle moment in your life that you are truly connected to yourself that it happens. Courage builds and evolves and becomes you. I could finally start staring at myself in the mirror. I couldn't stare at myself in the mirror during those pinnacle times. But when I did, one of the things that I find very interesting. So I don't know if you guys listen to Jay Shetty. So he did an interview with one of those Kardashian girls. And it's really fascinating to me because everything that she has said about what she does with her inner child is exactly what I had gone through. This would have been over 7 years ago, guys. I put a picture of myself, and I'll show you guys that photo tomorrow so that you can see when you come in. And I'm going to show you the very picture that I would put onto my mirror every single day from that day when I had that connection with my father, the Archangel Michael. I also had Archangel Raphael and Gabriel there, but I'll talk about them later. And then I use that picture to connect myself into the inner child of me. I held her. I promised and I connected and I became her. I acknowledge the things that I didn't want as an adult to admit to myself. I felt abandoned. I felt unloved. I mean, love, who wouldn't when you're going through certain things, right? Isn't that what we always seek here in this world? Is to connect to people so we can belong somewhere, so that we can be something. And isn't that the greatest illusion that we're created? Isn't that the best illusion that we can actually put ourselves in? Bless him. I don't know if you guys just heard Darren sneeze. The best illusion is thinking that we have to belong into a sacred space with other people, when really we're belonging with her, the woman that we are meant to be in this space and world. Now, there's nothing wrong with tribes of sisters that you find along the way. Some will stay, some will go, some are seasons, and some are whole years and eternities of you to connect with. But the truth of embodying a woman that is sacred is acknowledging her, which is you, the inner child, the one person that we have taken away and not met with every single day. Now, this may seem as if it's a lot, but meeting with your inner child every single day, be it in the morning, afternoon, or night. Now, I do it at least 80 times throughout the day. I'm going to tell you guys, my inner child is always out now. It acknowledges the truth of who we are. And if we can embody that part of us, we can connect deeper into our ancestral team and acknowledge the one thing that I show a lot of my beautiful clients. You're never alone. You are never, ever alone. You've always been loved. You've always been supported. Your ancestor beings are not just the lineage where they're from. They are high beings as well. The light, the connection of the stars, the galactics, the ancient understanding of Gaia. There's so much of them that most people do not remember. And so when we take the fear of the inner child's fear of being seen, being heard, being felt, and being acknowledged within us, the embodiment of this beautiful woman. Welcome back, Sister Jamie. I see that you've accidentally left. Oh, Liang, thank you. When we come into the embodiment of this beautiful woman that we truly are, we start to rise. We start to be that sacredness. We become humble within ourselves. We become empowered to who we are. And heck, yes, we're radiant when we do it. Because it shows in the colors of your skin, in the way that we smile, in our eyes. The connection of our soul is here and here in our heart, not the crystal. So I ask this very question. I ask you to take this moment as you are here to engage yourself into the comments, if you're watching on replay or if you're here right now, to truly write down your fear, your true fear. And then I ask you to acknowledge this into yourself and become the embodiment of your inner child today. Today is about the inner child and the ancestral connections and acknowledging that fear. Because there's a lot more than just a couple steps to stepping into her. And tomorrow, I'm going to show you guys something much more different. I'm going to show you guys a way to remove those fears, a way to divert the not being seen, heard, or felt of the woman that you are. Because as a woman, we're prosecuted so many times in our relationships, in our surroundings at work, in our surroundings with our partners, our friends. It may not be direct sometimes, but we sense it, we know it, because we are intuitive enough to feel into it. And that's what I'm going to talk about tomorrow, is about energy. And why the sacred woman follows that energy and becomes who she is. So to write down in the comments for me, my loves, about what it means for you when it comes to fear. And if you want to write into the group a full story, or even come on live, I will approve them, or my team will approve them for you. Now remember, my darling, darling, darling women. I don't know why I just said darling. That was weird. I think spirit just took over on that one. I was like, whoa. It is time for you to know where you want to show up and acknowledge that fear. So if you have a hard time being seen, then maybe it's time for you to go on live. And I challenge this because many of us wish to have certain somethings. But first we have to take that action of acknowledging that fear inside of us. And call on your inner child. Be playful. Be fun. Be sensual if you want to. It's all about you and who you are. Okay? Share your story. Go on live in the Facebook group here at Wise Women Sisters Collective. And when you do, you will be placed into a draw for you. Now, I did say for those of you who can be on, but I know everybody's got different time zones, and that's okay. But for those of you who are on here right now, be it if you're in the group or if you're here on my Zoom, know that I will be placing your entry more than 3 times for each day. That's 6 entries in there of your name. So if you are here and you put on our Facebook group about the fears that are holding you back, your true fears, and if you need to take a day to write this, final information will be done by no later than Thursday at 12 p.m. MST for all entries, because I will be doing the draw on Friday. Okay? You receive a one-on-one session with me to help clear all of these unwanted old imprints of the past, the present, and the future. Hello, Natalie. Welcome, Divine Soul. We're just about to end our masterclass, but if you want to press replay and be a part of it as well, though, too, you can. In this world, we are being called, all sacred women are being called to rise together, rise as one, rise out of those fears and step forth into your truth of who you are. So if you've heard my story, know that we are so resilient. Our bodies, our mind, and our spirit are able to surpass any pains that come through to us. We are able to become the very pinnacle beaming light that we choose to be. Find a picture of yourself when you're really young and place it onto your mirror and look at her every single day. And I assure you, if I can help over 100 women acknowledge themselves, see themselves, become who they are meant to be, to embody her, the sacred woman that is inside of them, I know that those of you who are on here will also feel into that. I don't make guarantees. I'm aware. And that is not being conceited. My work is not about coming in and forcing you out, but acknowledging you. If you're feeling called that it's time for you to rise into that full leadership of yourself, then leave a message and I will have my team message you. Otherwise, I cannot wait to see you all next week. Tomorrow. Oops. I meant tomorrow. I don't know why I said next week. I cannot wait to see you all tomorrow. I'm going to call on my beautiful sister. I'm hoping this is okay. Hello, Cynthia. Hello, my beautiful, beautiful, divine woman. Thank you so much for healing me this week. Guys, as I said, I've had my massage therapist, who actually is our beautiful woman here as well, though, too. And I'm going to read out her response very quickly. We've got about 10 more minutes anyways. So for those of you who want to share your information and want to share about your inner child and the fears that are coming up, I would love for you to put them onto the comments. And if you're okay with me reading them as well. I received a message from our beautiful soul. My inner girl is innocent and I feel her telling me to be I feel her telling me to be me, no matter what, to play full out. I know she is right, but I hold back because I was labeled a troublemaker for my curiosity. My whole life I was kept quiet by my mama. Now I realize, thank you, divine soul. Now I realize she was protecting me for she too was shut down by her parents. Now that I have spoke up, my extended family has abandoned me. I don't feel alone though. I have risen above it painfully but surely. I know now my support comes from all the like-minded women who have also risen. I am grateful. And we are grateful of you, divine sister, for showing up, for not allowing the fear to consume you, but to find the courage inside of you to know there are more like-minded women out there who are like you. And I'm very blessed to have you in my vortex, because I truly believe that we are all meant to have the sacred space of truth inside of ourselves. And hello, Casey, my divine soul. Thank you so much. Casey has been around in my vortex for quite some time. She actually watched me flourish as I grew myself in this beautiful city of Edmonton. And I have her to thank as well too. You see, growth and sacredness of a divine woman is not done by themselves sometimes. There is the pinnacle point where we must grow in certain areas of our own. But then we require, and I say this with lots of love, you guys, I still do this as well. We require the assistance of others to help us see past the inside box that we create. So if you're creating that inside box, say yes to yourself. Find ways to make it work for you, as well as the person that you are seeking to make it work with. And if you're ready to step into this leadership role, come and shoot me a message. I assure you guys, I price this program quite well, because I want to be a support system to you all in a way that allows you to see further than the eye can see moments. Because sometimes we need that, right? Stand up. Stand up. That is all I want to say. Thank you, my divine souls. I'm headed to another appointment here as well. And I want to say thank you to everyone who has been here, you know, connecting and growing with me as well though too, and really understanding your truth of who you are. I need to move because my leg is starting to cramp. I'm in a yoga position right now on my chair. I think I'm gonna move downstairs tomorrow as well though too, and that way I can have a little bit more stretchy room. I decided to wear this very long dress, and I was like, I'll just wear this one. I really wanted a red top, so anywho's, thank you everybody for being here in this sacred space, and take this moment to put onto the group about what your fears are and be honest with yourself. Acknowledge that inner child and go and find that photo that you can use on your mirror, and I'll show you guys mine tomorrow. Okay? Thank you, everyone, divine souls and sisters. May you all have a glorious day, afternoon, and night. I love you all. Thank you. Bye, guys.